back.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, 1 second, if we could make a brief introduction. This is our CTO, Jay Bayoun.
Hi, everybody.
We're all coming in is, I think this is it. I didn't get word on the 5th, but I think this is gonna be it. I'm sorry. Question in the back.
What if the cash flow pool in a particular project did not materialize?
Well, we're focusing on a target number of 48 million as a cap in the Reg D environment under the 506C, targeting exclusively accredited investors. At 48 million, it really doesn't alarm anybody in the risk management at that level when you're dealing with institutional money. It's easy for them to come into an environment like a token represented hedge fund. You know, and Ted was talking about the 506 compliance and all of that. I want to expand on that just a little bit. We make a very key distinction versus all of the other security tokens that are out there. We don't say we're a security token. We are a hedge fund that resides on the blockchain. We want to be treated as a hedge fund. We act as a hedge fund. We file as a hedge fund. We behave as a hedge fund. And once we reach the 100 million mark, I think that's 100 million, we become a reporting company and we're going to be treated as a public company. It's incidental to, and in terms of how we're structured, the philosophy in our company, how we run this, it's incidental that we're on the blockchain. We're a use case for a hedge fund that migrated into the new technology to prove the new technology, if that makes sense.
I think, let me rephrase. I think you might have been asking something a little different. Are you asking what happens if the returns from the underlying project in which they're invested does not?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's built into the contracts that are sort of the liquidation priority and the liquidation preferences.
Correct.
So whatever you're able to get out of that will go back to the holders.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that part of your.
So I want to follow up on the example Oliver said about raising money, let's say the 20 million as example. Usually when the manager of the company, let's say, get that tokens, usually it transfer to dollar amount or it will stay at cryptocurrency, and what is usually manager can do to protect against this change in valuation?
The change in valuation of the token?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's two sets of tokens. So the first set of tokens are locked and restricted, meaning that they just represent ownership, but they're not registered securities. Therefore, you can't move them around. So you can look in your wallet and you'll see that they're there, but there's no liquidity there. You can't do anything with it until that lockup expires,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Which is actually written into the contract. So when that lockup period expires, there's a function call that you can make that will convert those non-S1 tokens into registered security tokens, and an S1 filing will be made at that time to make sure that those tokens are in legal compliance.
Now, in addition to that, we also have on capital gain events, where capital gains are realized on a liquidation event or an exit event, where the token holders are actually afforded the option to take a fiat distribution of capital gains, along with the shareholder dividend distributions that are typically associated with a hedge fund.
But to go back to your original question about moving to fiat, right, because I think that's what everybody
Yeah,
wants
to
to do.
move it to, let's say,
Right.
dollars to be able
Right,
to.
right. So there will be a secondary market for the S1 tokens, which various exchanges will be announced shortly. And then that's how you would be able to get to fiat dollars. On top of that, there's probably, I think we were talking about having a treasury as well.
We are.
Okay, where there's a fixed rate where you can exchange tokens for fiat dollars if you choose to do so.
And that's based on the monthly valuation from the undisclosed, ultra-conservative, 100-year plus firm.
So we have 3 minutes left for the last question. Please.
I'm just switching gears for a second from the whole blockchain aspect to the fundamental part, because a couple things you said I'm trying to reconcile. So there's no trading in that they're not public securities, and you say you function like a hedge fund, or you have long-term private investments. What is the hedge?
We actually acquired physical bullion, gold, silver, platinum, commercial real estate, oil, gas leases. I don't know if I'd really call that a hedge. But
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a hedge.
I wouldn't either, but the physical bullion, obviously.
That's not a hedge either. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, so
I think
you're.
let me see if I can clarify that. I
think we're using a hedge fund in a slightly different sense,
Right.
that we are a broadly diversified private investment fund that hedges by investing in diversified positions, and that's the sense that we mean hedge fund.
So you have different longs.
Right.
You have
Absolutely.
you have a portfolio of
Absolutely.
longs, which is not a hedge.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
absolutely.
Diversified
It's,
investment.
it's
So
loosely,
you're- I'm
it's
just
loosely
thinking-
termed.
Correct.
To be
You
clear.
keep saying behaving like a hedge fund, that's why I'm very.
I understand.
We're not doing short selling derivatives and things like that
No,
to
no, no.
hedge
You're-
different long-term futures.
So why do you call it a hedge fund? I think that's very.
Because everybody glazes over in the regulatory environment when I try and explain how this is anything else, and they all defer back to, so you're a hedge fund?
I actually would just, to your counsel, I would suggest that's very confusing.
I don't disagree with you, but it's just, after 17 conversations, it's kind of like, okay, fine, I'll call it a hedge fund. I'm with you. No, I'm completely.
It's a
with
hedge
you.
fund that's very much akin to just a traditional private equity fund.
Yeah.
So I guess we're at the end of the time, you want the closing word?
Jay, if I could actually get you to close out just a little bit on how the Alitheia token separates itself from other ERC-20s in terms of what we're doing and give specificity to, before we launch the ecosystem, what we're working on with the auditors and making sure that we're
So just
solid.
where we are in terms of like the project. Okay, so most of the token contracts themselves have been developed. We're going through auditors now, which is a separate process in the blockchain building process. So you have, me as a builder, right? I would write the contracts, and then somebody who hasn't seen the contracts, we would consult with them to have them audit the contracts, because the way that smart contracts work is, it's not like a traditional website where if you deploy bad code, you can just fix it later. Once contracts are deployed, that's it. There's nothing you can do. You can't change it. That's just the way that it will execute from now until the end of time. So there's a very extensive audit process that we're going through now to make sure that our tokens are fully bulletproof and unhackable. And there are also a couple of other governance and project-based contracts that Jared was alluding to that have specific rules and liquidations and payout rules and things of that nature, which are still under construction, but probably will be specific to each contract. So we'll probably have to write those rules in as they become available, or as they become negotiated.
Yeah.
Good, so we're at the end of the
Are we
time?
at the end?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Nice job.
This is good to see you.
Yeah, it was decent.
Oh my gosh. I know, I couldn't believe it either.
I was downstairs for a while. I didn't know if you were here, since Jared was here, I had no idea.
Yeah, I was running around trying to tell everyone.
Yeah, I was with Ryan, and
We got you guys.
You got your phone back in. I'm sorry about
That's what
walking
matters
off
right now.
like
No,
that.
her health first.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes,
yeah, I got it.
are you guys staying at the?
No, I'm actually, my parents have a.
What do you think? David, what do you think? We're just getting started. Just getting started.
How about you?
Other topics of how things ties into other sections.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. See pictures of Bush.
I know. Schwarzkopf, yeah.
Basically, like every.
The actual instruments that you're gonna put forward, when it all comes
I
down
wanted to
inside.
just follow up on your question. We didn't really get a chance to elaborate on that. So we basically have the ability to lock investors project by project for a long-term contractual basis with the big projects. What we do is we actually go in and we acquire when we're promoting the investment subsidiaries. And then by becoming a subsidiary, and then that fund itself by naming. But to get liquidity along the way, we had dividend in terms of where it was funding. So that's kind of open up to the. I didn't think
Hello. Hey, Jen. Very nice to have you with us here. Proud of your man?
Oh, yeah.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah,
Keep Jared's assistant in your prayers. She had a heart attack this morning. She's at the hospital right now, right this very minute. So please send out prayers to Shauna Marie Swallows, correct is our name? We were able to hold this all together. with all this medical emergencies going on, very stressful times putting something together like this, where we're actually making a money system that forever could change the world and its potential. So Sean Marie, you are in our prayers, and we're sending out prayers and more prayers and stuff like this, so everything's gonna be okay. We know this. Thank you.
Reinventing money globally.
Yes, yes.
Alitheia.
Most definitely. Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Health is likewise.
You got it, exactly. Okay, that's great.
We basically trash convert into electricity, and we're able to
Oh, no, that's I have a lot of friends in Clearwater. So telehealth is, I would call St. Paul probably the ground zero of telehealth. You know, Melissa Terry,
Hello.
I need to introduce you to Melissa Terry. She knows all the telehealth players.
Most definitely. Those people are amazing. They're on stage presentation about this. And as you can see, we have people that her way. People
Yeah, yes it did. Yeah,
I grabbed the right stat. The first stat didn't have it, and I'm thinking, oh no. All right, so when I'm in town all week, I leave Thursday, I possibly will
a
be
big
extending
product
depending on
onto other solar systems again.
Oh, I see.
See, other systems.
well, I'm between now, I'm moderating on 4 o'clock.
So this is brought to us divinely, this project, and it's very honored to
I've got time. If you want to grab a room, guys, we set aside we can chat briefly.
told us
20 minutes to wrap up.
Kennedy's community here.
Okay, very good. This is actually Ryan.
How you doing, sir? Hello.
If you want to get with him,
I would love to. Sorry, I have you on camera there. Hi, nice to meet you. Let's try that again. Nice to meet you. How are you doing, sir? Could I just say, I'm doing a Facebook Live. Do you mind introducing yourself? I appreciate you coming today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Green.
Dr. Green, nice to meet you. We can talk off the film here. It's an interesting project, though.
Very interesting.
Thank you so much. I'd love to talk to you. You want to talk right now? Okay, one second. I'm going to go ahead. Once I want to turn the camera to my girlfriend. Babe, will you just go record the conversations or David with what's going on out here? I'm going to talk to him for a second, please. Get close so you can just...
We work with certain EPCs, because we're a U.S. company, if there is a need, we can go for like the U.S. government and get funding from the likes of OPEC, the Export-Import Bank. But of course, we're definitely open to other elements of financing, especially if there is a viable PPA and
absolutely.
20-30% equity.
That's great. Yeah, we should definitely talk further. Are you based in Florida? Jared's based in Florida too.
Well, my boss is based in Florida. I work remotely.
Okay, great.
But
I'd love to. Talk to Jared, but we should follow up on it because I think it's a great fit for. Yeah. Fleet Water is one of our.
one of the biggest costs for selling is
Right.
technology you guys are going to water.
Yep.
And you can reduce the cost of this project because you're generating
Electricity and revenue from metal.
in my experience, electricity is not reliable.
Right.
And whatever you do, you sell off
I like it. That makes great sense. Okay, very good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that too. Hi there. How are you? Good.
This is very interesting stuff. I'm a financial advisor.
Oh, okay.
Account head.
Yeah. I was in Boston for a summit.
Oh, okay.
One of the areas has a shortage of blue water that they're not allocating. Victoria.
Really? Okay. Wow.
They have because I have a relative there, so I believe it or not, I'm water utilities, so that might be.
That's a great idea. I didn't know that at all.
Well, they obviously pay for you for the technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Being from the Pacific Northwest, I spent a lot of time on Vancouver Island, Victoria, but I didn't know they had a water issue there, weirdly.
Usually in the summer.
Okay, yeah. That's great to know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of seniors there, and I don't know if they're actually pushing for, advocating to get
Wow. Okay. Do you have someone there that you might be able to contact, or should we follow up with you?
I'll give you my card. Sorry. Absolutely. It's a little bit druggier. You've been traveling a bit. Can I get your card?
Yes.
And also, there's some new technology from accountant in Chicago. There's a technology where you can take, the farm waste, the animal waste, and convert it to electricity.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I've heard of people doing that
And
before.
it's
Yeah.
actually pretty cost effective. I looked into it.
Those are getting more and more. Yeah.
You need about,
This is an old card of mine, but you can reach me there on the phone number or anything.
so I'll send you the info for that technology.
Please do.
Apparently, like the cost effectiveness when it's
Oh, okay.
So it's not actually that bad.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
And then they can, now I understand actually why because of all the points for electricity, why you need so much power.
Oh yeah, the way it's transmitted and distributed out. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So how do you, I guess that's another thing, so I'm not power generate finish the financial transactions too.
Right. The people are abusing the system right now, and just they're actually literally driving up the electric cost for everyone by how much power it takes to mine these sort of tokens and things like that. I don't think there's any shortage of need for power. It's just positioning it in the right area where you can get the highest retail amount for the power that you're generating. So, yeah.
So my last name is Dollar. You'll remember.
Okay, I will remember that. Yeah, it's Dollar. I like it.
I
It's a
do
great
like
last
that.
name. I
It's
do.
not one. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's great.
So I'll email you next week. I'm going to a medical conference in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So I'll send it to you next like Monday or
Okay,
Tuesday.
yeah, that's great. Jared's based in Florida too, so you might be able to talk to him.
Oh, okay. Should I take his card?
Yeah.
So you have that like Jared Square. Jared's right?
That's Jared. Olivier is
Yeah,
his
so
name.
two.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is that your code?
Yep, that's fine.
Here,
Yeah.
I don't actually have your time because we were chatting already, but may I get your card? Of course you may. I'm going to send some info for technology. I was just saying, Victoria actually has a water.
So Ted, I think you want to sit down.
Oh, you're, yeah.
Danny
We'll get to
Thomas
the
next door,
final steps.
Water for the World, they're affiliated.
Like to do that.
I want to kind of